Okay, we're live. Now, I had to flip the camera so I can't actually see what's going on because the camera's facing the other way. But in order for you to not have to read the numbers that I'm going to share backwards, I had to set this up like this. So, what I wanted to talk about today, and hopefully this isn't cutting my head off because again, I can't see anything, is fat loss math or weight loss math. So, a lot of people come in and, you know, of course, most people want to lose fat or like want to lose weight, you know, but we're talking fat. And what I wanted to do real quick was break down the math. I probably don't do this often enough just to give people a refresher, like this is how it works. Now, before we get started, should I do this before or after? Yeah, I'll do it before and I'll mention it after. Before we get started, what we're going to do right here is the math around losing fat. However, there's an asterisk. We'll put an asterisk right here. So there's an asterisk here. How this doesn't work, or when this doesn't work, something else you have to take into consideration are one, hormones, 2, stress, and 3, sleep. My point being, and those 3 all kind of go in together. They're all separate, but they're together at the same time. My point being that, especially right now, let's just say a lot of our clients, well, they're dealing with like kids going back to school. If you're not sleeping, or if your stress is much higher than normal, I'm just gonna shoot you straight. Like you can't give up. You got to keep going. You got to keep working hard. But I think a lot of people are going to need to readjust their expectations, because when your stress and your sleep are off, it impacts your hormones, and like it is very, very hard to lose body fat. Not impossible, but we're getting very challenging to do that if your sleep and your stress is out of whack, which for a lot of people it is right now. So like that's okay. It's not the end of the world. However, like you just got to reset expectations sometimes. So, and as painful as it may be, it's good for long-term planning. So, looking at this right here, man, this is so weird because I can't really see what's going on. So, looking at this right here, a couple things to keep in mind. So, number one, we want to find out how the math works. Step one, what's your basal metabolic rate? So, your basal metabolic rate, how many calories are you burning at rest, or like basically not exercising? Just on a normal day, if you're sitting around eating Cheetos, watching TV, how many calories would you be burning? We're going to use, for this example, we're just going to say 1,600, just to use round numbers. All right, now we need to figure out our deficit goal. How much fat do you want to lose? Some people will be like, well, I want to lose like 5 pounds a week. Cool, but that's probably not realistic, and you wouldn't like the math if we actually did it. So let's say we want to lose 1 pound per week. Now, in order to lose 1 pound of body fat, you need a 3,500 calorie deficit. So you need to consume 3,500 calories less than you're burning. So if we want to do that in a week, we need to take 3,500 calories divided by 7, because that's how many days there are in a week, and we get 500 calories per day. So if we want to lose 1 pound per week, we need to have a 500 calorie per day deficit. Comprende? 3,500 divided by 7. So, 500 calories. All right, so we're burning 1,600 calories. We want to lose 1 pound a week. That means, and don't freak out because we're not done yet, that means you can only consume 1,100 calories per day. Now you're probably thinking, holy crap, that's nothing. You're right, it's not. But we still have some work to do. So, basal metabolic rate, 1,600 calories. Calorie deficit, 500 calories per day. That's 7 days a week. That means you need to be consuming 1,100 calories 7 days a week. Now we have to factor in our exercise activity. Let's assume, just to use round numbers, for exercise, we're going to go with, you're working out 4 times a week, and you're burning 500 calories per workout. That's 2,000 calories per week. 2,000 calories per week you're burning through exercise. Now we got to divide that up over 7 days though. And let's see, 2,000 calories divided by 7. Don't forget to carry the 2. I think that's somewhere like 285, give or take. I hope I'm right on this. So 285. So now we got to add back in, or we can add back in the 285 calories. Now, should you add in the calories you burn from working out? For the math, we're going to say yes. But it depends is my final answer. So your new adjusted daily intake is 1,385 calories per day. So you might look at that and be really mad, or you might look at that and be like, oh, I had no idea. Whatever it is. So here's some things to think about. This is the math. This is how it works. A couple things to think about. If you say, oh my gosh, I can't eat that few calories, what that means is, one, you need to either increase this number and exercise more, which will work to a degree, but there gets a point of diminishing returns where you're just beating the crap out of your body and not doing any good. Or you need to change this number, meaning you need to reset your expectations. It's not like the end of the world. This is the world we live in. Like, we got to be adults, and we might have to reset the expectations that losing 1 pound of body fat per week is not realistic given our lifestyle and our choices. So again, you could change the math. If you wanted to say, well, how about if I only lost a half a pound a week? Then in that case, a half a pound a week, let's say we want to change some of the numbers. A half a pound a week would be 250 per day. So you need a 250 calorie per day deficit. That would change this to 1,350. Let's assume we're still 285 here. And then now, what do you know? This number might look a little more appealing. All of a sudden now, assuming you have a basal metabolic rate of 1,600 calories and you want to burn a half a pound a week, and you're going to burn 500 calories per day, 4 days per week through working out, you can now consume 1,635 calories. So if that seems more realistic, then maybe all that means is we need to reset the goal, and like a half a pound a week is more realistic. So this is the weight loss math. This is how it works. A couple other things I will note. If you're thinking, okay, well, how does this apply to me, or how do I figure all this out? Guess what I'm going to tell you? Step 1, do your in-body. The reason you do your in-body test, we do that here, it takes 2 minutes, doesn't cost you anything, so there's really no reason not to do it. It's painful to do, I'm not going to lie. Just because painful mentally, because it's like, man, I don't want to see those numbers. I don't like seeing them, so I totally understand. But it gives us this basal metabolic rate. If you don't have this number, you're guessing. And why would we want to guess with something that's potentially very, very important to you? So, step 1, do your in-body. Step 2, this is the one that I always talk about, food journal. Food journal. If you're not keeping a food journal, again, if this isn't a huge deal to you, then don't worry about it, don't sweat it. But if fat loss is your number 1 goal, then keeping a food journal should be very important. Without that, there's no way to know how many calories you're really taking in. And there's no way, unless you're keeping a food journal, to know what's going on here. So step 2 is a food journal. Step 3, exercise. The math only makes sense if we do the exercise that we committed to doing. 500 calories per day times 4 days per week. Or whatever. Maybe it's 800 calories, maybe it's 300 calories a day. Or whatever. That's up to you. It's largely up to you. I can help you figure that out. But again, you got to exercise. And then number 4, and the most important of all, consistency. If you're not exercising consistently, then these numbers aren't actually accurate and the results may not be what you want. If you're not keeping a food journal consistently, then these intake numbers might not be accurate, and which is going to throw this off, which is going to throw the whole formula off. So what I mean by consistently is you have to look at this on a 7-day basis. You cannot keep a food journal for 5 days a week, which is honestly, and I'm not judging anyone because I do the same thing myself sometimes, but you can't keep a food journal for 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, fall off the wagon on Saturday and Sunday, and then think like, oh, well, you know, it's not that big of a deal, it's only 2 days. It is a huge deal because if 2 days a week, these numbers completely get thrown off, then it's going to change everything. Let's just say using this formula right here, 250 calorie per day deficit is, let's see, 250 times 7, so that's 1,030, yeah. So 250 calorie per day deficit gives you a 1,750 calorie per week deficit. That's what you're going for in order to lose half pound a week. Think about this. Friday night, Saturday night, just one night rolls around and you have a couple glasses of wine, 3 glasses of wine, and this is just one night a week. If you're doing this Friday and Saturday, then it could get even worse. So let's just say we're having 110 calories per drink. There's 330 calories. All right, 330 calories washed away from this number. Now let's throw on top of it the fact that like you decided to have some hot wings. So we'll say this number is now, what's that, 14? Yeah, 1420. So you're now at a 1,420 calorie deficit. Can you even see that? I don't know. Yeah, you can, barely. So you're at a 1,420 calorie per week, not day, per week deficit. But you decided to have the hot wings or pizza because, hey, that's probably what I would do. So again, not pointing fingers, I'm just explaining the math. So 1,420 calories. I had some recently, and I looked it up because I was keeping a food journal, and the wings was nearly 1,000 calories, I think. So let's just say 1,000 calories. And again, you're out to eat with friends, you're having you're splitting an appetizer, splitting a dessert, you get like a decent entree. 1,000 calories is very easy to overconsume. So let's assume that you do that. Now all of a sudden, you're at a 420 calorie per week deficit. You just cut your progress down by 75% from the original goal. The original goal of 1,750 calorie deficit due to 3 drinks, which is not a big deal. 3, relatively small drinks too. We're talking like a Bud Light. So through 3 drinks and then 1,000 calories, like I said, it's like an order of wings or a half a pizza or something. And all of a sudden, that weekly calorie deficit, you worked your butt off, you feel like Monday through Friday or Sunday through Friday, you worked your butt off, you did great, but then and then you're wondering like, why am I not seeing the result? Why am I not seeing the progress I want? 9 times out of 10, it's because of this right here. And again, I can't stress this enough. I do the same thing myself. So I'm not judging. It's just, I think it's better to be clear about how this works so that you can plan appropriately, adjust your expectations where needed, and set yourself up for success, because that's what it's all about. So again, we can adjust these numbers however you want, but you have to keep in mind, math is math. And I don't know about this Common Core math, but when I grew up, 1 + 1 = 2, and like the math doesn't really change. So this is what it is. Again, the only thing outside of here that you need to consider are like hormones, stress, and sleep. There's other things, but whatever. Those are the big 3. So hormones, stress, and sleep. If your hormones are out of whack, which a lot of times is due to stress or sleep, then I got news for you. That's going to make this a heck of a lot harder. So we'll save the whole sleep and stress talk. I've done other talks on those. We'll save that sermon for another day. But for now, here's the math. Again, adjust your goal, but know that 3,500 calories equals 1 pound. Know that. Again, do your in-body. Keep a food journal. Figure out the exercise plan and stick with it. And then do all those things consistently. And you'll be set up for success. So I'm going to go on the other side of the camera now. Any questions, comments? No? Okay, good. I wasn't watching this whole time anyway. So there you have it. That's the numbers. Again, if you have questions, leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to potentially answer them. So thanks for watching and have a great day.